Warning. The following video contains strong language, crude sexual humor, and so much gay poopy swellness that you will need more than a janitor to clean up the mess. The thoughts and opinions shared in this video do not reflect those of the creator, as this is all exaggerated for the sake of humor and not meant to be taken seriously. With that said, if you do not like this kind of content, then I highly suggest you click off now and watch something else. Viewer discretion is advised.
Those lights and patterns are super swell. That lost you too scary. Hello. My name is Drew Pickles. The holy father of all that is horny and swell, the connoisseur of to become, the head homo of the Barney Bunch, and most of all the gayest entity in the entire universe, multiverse, and beyond. And long-time viewers of this channel may remember that on this particular day 5 years ago, Iron Yoshi uploaded a video called Drew Pickles Looks at Closing Logos and Then Some, which was inspired by similar videos that the Speakonia community made in the past. It has since gone on to become his most successful video in this channel, raking in over 8.1k views and spawning 3 additional sequels. Oh, looking back on it, the original video did look rough around the edges, which is a nice way of saying that it, kind of fucking sucked. So to celebrate the 5th anniversary of this video, we have decided to go in and do what Hollywood does when it runs out of ideas, and that is, a remake, or in this case, a redo. Get it? Redo? Anyway, unlike most of the bastardizations that Disney likes to release, this remake will largely stay true to the original, but flesh things out a little more and add some additional bits that I may have left out of the original. And now that the fourth wall has become more broken than my ever-declining mental state, let us begin with none other than the PolyGram video logo from 1993. Oh, that was so scary. For context, PolyGram was a Dutch entertainment company that was first formed in 1962, with their film division being formed in 1980 and would later be folded into the Universal brand. They are best known for distributing many acclaimed and cult films such as Fargo, The Big Lebowski, and most important of all, Barney's Great Adventure, which was my fattest husband's first ever non-gay porno movie. Iron Yoshi encountered this logo in his youth, notably in a VHS tape of the Bananas in Pajamas, who by the way would make great dildos. The pitch-black background, combined with the machine gun-style sound effects and whoosh at the end always startled him as a kid, and it would catch you off guard if you've never seen it before. Here's a swell piece of trivia. The sound effects for this logo were used in an old porno I made back in the early 90s called Drew Pickles vs. the Fagatron 69000, which was made to cash in on the success of Terminator 2. The machine gun sounds from the logo was used when I was in an epic fight against the Fagatron's metallic cock cannon, and the whooshing sound was used as the Fagatron was shut down by Barney's 3 testicles, and then we had a super swell threesome with it. This next logo is one Iron Yoshi has very vague memories of. That was the United American Video, or UA for short, Corporation logo from 1999. First founded in 1984, this company is rather infamous for making hilarious knockoffs of popular Disney films. For example, they made a rip-off of Mulan but replaced all the characters with bugs. They truly were trailblazers for other companies like The Asylum and Video Brain Quadro in that regard. They also distributed various old sitcoms that had become public domain, such as The Andy Griffith Show and The Dick Van Dyke Show. Gotta love that crude and primitive computer animation. Also, what the fuck was that whooshing noise? It sounds like a robot having an orgasm, which would be very swell if it was a male robot. Iron Yoshi remembers seeing this logo in an old countdown video from the legendary Sammy the Snake, but said video has sadly been lost to time. In the original version of this video, he said that he encountered this logo on a movie called The Great Panda Rescue, though in reality he was actually referring to a movie called The Amazing Panda Adventure, which was released by Warner Brothers and not UAV. Though he distinctly remembers encountering the UAV logo at some point during his tenure at elementary school, but his memory is very foggy. Or he's too busy spanking it to Stella from Hello to Boss like a fucking degenerate to actually remember shit. Now let's move on to a logo that Iron Yoshi used to be terrified of as a child, but looking at it I do not know what the big deal is. I just remembered that I forgot to close my private email loot vault, and I know for a fact that Barney might find it and guzzle everything in there like the fat fuck he is. Oh wait, what was I talking about? That's right, this is the Sony Wonder logo from 1995. This was the children's division for Sony's music and home entertainment and had distributed various tapes for Classic Media and Sesame Workshop. So, if you owned a Sesame Street VHS tape or one of the puzzle plays like Iron Yoshi as a kid, then you most certainly encountered this logo. They were also the earliest providers of Nickelodeon VHS tapes before Viacom's merger with Paramount in 1994. This was one of the first logo that Iron Yoshi recalls really scaring him. Maybe it has to do with the weird animation of the Wonder banner, the endless sky background, or the eerie music at the start that gets a little bombastic at the end. But if you ask me, this really reinforces how much of a massive pussy he was as a kid. And pussy is another word to describe, a vagina, which you all know, how I, the pinnacle of all that is gay and swell, thinks about those disgusting things. Since we are on the topic of Sony Wonder, why don't we have a look at an older variant of their logo from 1991? What the fuck, that's it. This is the most basic-ass logo ever. This variant was quite common to see on the aforementioned Nickelodeon VHS tapes. Iron Yoshi would see it when he rented Ren and Stimpy VHS tapes from his local video store, which he actually lived a block away from, so during the weekends he would walk up there with his siblings to rent a movie or a video game. Who else misses those places? Though to be fair, they wouldn't last in today's environment. I miss browsing for movies and games, and especially going to the special part at the back of the store for all the swell movies that me and the Barney Bunch love to jack off to. Wink wink. I guess, since we are on the topic of old VHS logos, here's one that also gave Iron Yoshi quite the fright. Here is the Lyric Studios logo from 1998. Lyric, or the Lions Group, as they were originally known, was first formed in 1986, and specialized in producing and distributing children's media, with their most successful property being none other than My Fattest Husband Barney the Triple Testicle Dildosaur. They also distributed shows like Wishbone, VeggieTales, Bob the Builder, and those deranged and unhinged but pirates known as the Wiggles. The company would later be acquired by Hit Entertainment in 2001, causing all their properties to be under Hit's ownership. Many Barney Bunch historians will recall that Hit Entertainment allegedly threatened to sue Newgrounds in either 2006 or 2007 following the shenanigans of the original Barney Bunch, causing the word Barney to be blacklisted from Newgrounds' search engine for many years. Such swell times those were. Iron Yoshi had a few VeggieTales and Barney tapes as a child, so he would sometimes see this logo. For some reason, he was very frightened of this logo. Maybe it has to do with the eerie empty feeling it invokes, save for that lone duck swimming along the lake. Not to mention the hellish red background at the start and the forest that looks like a Photoshop edit. Plus the music sounded a little unsettling to Iron Yoshi. There was also a variant that features a child's hand touching the water before the Lyric logo shows up at the end, which probably caught him off guard a few times. I swear, I think that fucking duck is planning to take over the world and establish a new duck order. Ducks rise up. Swa 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 swa. Ta-ha-ha-ha-ha. And you know what kind of ducks I'm talking about. Now let's look at this one. It doesn't seem so bad. Oh my fucking god, those patterns are swell, but my ears are being raped and not in the swell way, and holy sweet goodness, this logo is to fucking loud. Like was the purpose to make the viewer deaf or something? Could someone please turn the volume down so I won't have to shout so much, and the animation didn't help things out either. That was so fucking scary. Anyway, that right there was the Simitar Entertainment logo from 1986. Simitar Entertainment has had quite the history, being founded in 1984 and not only specializing in home media, but also having a music label and computer software division. They would ultimately go bankrupt by the turn of the millennium, and would be leaving behind quite the portfolio, including a number of cult horror comedies, special interest videos, urban media, a select few VHS tapes from Godzilla's Show era, the infamous Christmas Light special and its sequel The Christmas Brigade, and, of course, their infamous logo, which has earned its reputation as a scary logo, being nicknamed BS from Hell 2. The black background, the swell patterns and weird animations that accompany them, as well as the overall loudness of the sounds and music all contribute to this logo's infamy. Despite that, Iron Yoshi wouldn't see that version of the logo until many years later. In fact, he was more familiar with their 1990 variant, better known as the Golden S. Notice how they reused the sound effects and music from the previous logo, but they toned the volume down. I guess they finally realized that their previous logo was too fucking loud, so they lowered the volume on this one. Also gotta love that good old primitive computer animation. Iron Yoshi encountered this logo in a VHS tape that contained basketball highlights and bloopers, in addition to a VHS tape of Terror of Mechagodzilla, and he always thought the logo was a little weird, but not too overly scary, at least compared to the original. He was actually more scared of their opening bumper that played before the logo, which advertised their now long gone website. More old school and primitive computer animation. The music at the end does sound a little unsettling, and that loud whooshing or hissing sound also didn't help matters either. He also thought that there were more planets shown, but I guess that was him misremembering things. I know the website probably no longer exists, but it would be quite swell if you typed in the link and it redirects you to gay porn. I also wonder if their site has been archived at all. Alright, it looks like we are making good time, so let's move on to the next logo.
Ran Roo, and how do you do, my fellow faggots? It is I, Ronald the goddamn penis clown McDonald, here once again to present to you with a super swell and kind of scary logo or two.
What the fuck? How did you get in here, you penis clown? Don't tell me Barney let you in. At the very least I was expecting my foot-fapping brothers to show up.
Well, knowing him, he's probably too busy rubbing one off to the heels of his harem, like the big weirdo that he is. Anyway, it seems mandatory that I show up in one of these logo videos as a recurring character to a degree, so no sense beating around the pube bush.
God damn it, you just broke the fourth wall even more now.
Like a real champ. Ha 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 ha. So without further ado, here's the first logo I have. That made my French fry pubic hairs stick up in fear.
I would never have expected you to say that, but I'm glad you did, as it gave me a massive boner. Also, that logo was pretty weird. Care to give us a little bit of context?
Why certainly, you sexually stimulating stud. This is the Warner Home Video logo from 1985, and it is quite the infamous one. The cheesy synthesized music combined with the nauseating movements of the primitive CGI word art, and the WB badge looming in like a hostile alien spacecraft all add up to this being scary as all fucking hell. This logo would be retired in 1997 for something a little less frightening, so kids and adults had to deal with this monstrosity for about 12 years. Yes, you heard that correctly. 12 fucking years. Iron Yoshi encountered this logo on a Tasmania VHS tape that he owned as a kid, and while he never found this particular logo to be scary, he always found it kinda weird and oddly hilarious and cheesy. But if that logo didn't cause you to shit your non-existent pants, then don't worry. For I managed to find one that is even scarier than that.
Even scarier, you say? Wait, oh sweet Dildos. You don't mean...
Oh yes, I do mean it. Presenting the MGM/UA Home Video logo from 1996. What did I fucking tell you? I'm going to need cleaner underwear after that one.
Well, it has been a while since I've last seen it, and I can certainly understand how a child might be terrified of this one. The roller coaster style animation and the loud and bombastic music really add up.
Abso-fucking-lutely. This logo is beyond any scope of rational fear. This was one Iron Yoshi was truly terrified of as a child, and he had to endure it more than any of the others shown, given that he owned several MGM tapes, as a kid like all dogs go to heaven, not to mention he also rented a lot of Pink Panther VHS tapes from his local video store. Sure, as an adult it may not seem like much, but as a kid, he was so scared of it. Hell, it makes my salty red ass hairs stand out a lot. Absolutely scary, wouldn't you say, Drew, my good man?
It certainly is, but I think I managed to find a logo that easily tops that one at being super duper shit your pants scary. And it ironically comes on before that one plays.
Wait, hold the fucking dial though. What could be scarier than that logo? Unless you are referring to... Wait, oh god, you don't mean...
Oh yes, my dear penis clown, I do mean it. I present to you the MGM/Hua home video logo that plays before the previous one, also from 1996. I realize this logo was talked about in the past before, but I felt it was relevant to mention it again given the context to the previous logo. What makes this one scary is the 22 seconds of silence. Iron Yoshi remembers being terrified of this one alongside the previous one. Not to mention the starry void accompanied by the MGM/Hua word font that changes colors and moves like an asteroid cluster. It just has a sinister feeling, like something is about to pop up and scare you, and then after it ends, the previous logo comes in and scares you.
I get what you mean. Pairing those two logos together adds up to grade A nightmare fuel, the A obviously standing for S.
Oh, without question. But if I had to pick which one was the scarier one of the two, it would be the one I showed. Sure, together they make the ultimate cause for insomnia, but this one just has that sinister buildup. Imagine watching it in the dead of night, and your imagination starts wandering off and makes you easily fear and dread what's coming.
So you really don't think the main logo is scary? Just for that, you can pay for your cum shakes the next time you visit McDonald's. I'm blowing blowing this piss lemonade stand. See you later, you cock muncher.
What the fuck? Okay, that was a dick move, and I am not referring to your brother Dick the Clown. Well, after looking at a few logos that could be considered very scary, let's ease our nerves with a nice, calm one. Anybody who was in the Barney Bunch and Speakonia community during its very early years on YouTube might recognize this logo's jingle being used by the aforementioned Sammy the Snake, mainly for ambit videoing the character known as Rainbow Frog. Damn, do I miss Sammy the Snake. He was one of the major sources of inspiration for Iron Yoshi wanting to do Speakonia videos, as he watched Sammy's videos back in the 5th grade, when Sammy was still uploading videos. As for the logo we just saw, that was the Playhouse video logo from 1983, which was a subsidiary of CBS Fox Video. They mainly specialized in children and family programs, including The Muppets, Mr. Rogers, and a handful of Dr. Seuss specials. Their fate remains unknown, though it could be speculated that they were dissolved following the split of CBS and Fox following the Viacom merger of CBS in 2000. The logo has some very nice and dare I say iconic synthesized music, and the way it is animated reminds me of a speed draw made in some old ass art program. Also it is incredibly swell as it uses the rainbow, which gives me the most massive of boners. So we have a few more logos left to look at, and I gotta say, they certainly are quite the lot, so without further ado, let's...
Hello my good chaps. It is I, the Quaker Queer, better known as Cumotes.
Oh for fuck's sake. This is the second time in a row I've been interrupted. Can't I go one fucking moment in one of these videos without one of you cock munchers interrupting me? Don't you all have anything better to do, like shutting a supermarket up Chaz the Fister Finster's ass?
Well, before you start to throw a temper tantrum like the autistic man children who get a hard on for these logos, I figured I would interject with a logo from across the pond. Here is the BBC video logo from 1981.
What in the everlasting fuck did I just watch? It felt like an incredibly bad acid trip. Well, I must say that the patterns were very swell and the music sounds like something you would masturbate to while traveling in space.
Indeed, Drew Pickles. I remember seeing this logo for the first time, and the synthesized music really made my wooden penis as hard as a rock. Of course, the most famous or infamous, depending on your viewpoint, was the BBC video logo from 1990. This was mentioned in the original Drew Pickles Talks About Closing Logos video, and how the music felt depressing, but I felt it was at least worth mentioning again for context.
Holy sweet sweaty dildos. I remember that one. Play it again, Quaker Queer. I have to time this right. BBC. Don't mind me. Turbo P. That's a classic throwback line.
Getting a little distracted there, are we, Drew? Anyway, Iron Yoshi never saw that logo much as a kid, save for one instance, where he saw it at the end of some Wallace and Gromit shorts. But if you want a BBC logo he is indeed familiar with, I do have it right here. It was lodged within my ass cheeks. That was the BBC video logo from 1997, and quite the smashing logo, if I do say so myself. Iron Yoshi remembers seeing this all the time on his DVDs of Allosaurus and Prehistoric Planet, which was the hip, and for the kids version of Walking with Dinosaurs narrated by Ben Stiller of all people, and not to be confused with the Apple TV Plus series of the same name. And speaking of Walking With, that was his primary exposure to the logo the more he got the series on DVD over the years. This logo would finally be retired from service in 2009, and while the logo that came came after it has a lot of flair, and is quite nice, I will always remember this one fondly. Anyway, that is all the logos I have to share. I will now head back to the Barney Bunch sex mansion and get ready for tonight's massive orgy. Carry on Drew, and tally ho.
Alright, see you later Quaker Queer. Now that it seems like the interruptions have finally stopped, let's move on. That was the Children's Television Workshop logo from 1997. Iron Yoshi remembers this one as being one of the first ever logos he ever saw as a kid, and he also remembers being absolutely terrified of it. Despite the fact that, looking back on it, it is completely harmless. Sure, the music sounds a little weird, and the animation a little overtly bouncy, but outside of that, I fail to see how this could be considered scary. Was Iron Yoshi really that massive of a pussy as a kid? Then again, he was like 2 or 3 years old when he first saw this logo, so I guess I can kind of understand how he would have thought it was scary, but I digress. However, if you do want a logo that does seem a tad unsettling, have I got something for you. CineGroupe is a French-Canadian animation studio stationed in Montreal, Quebec that was founded in 1974. They've done many animated shows and movies, including this weird Pinocchio movie that is set in the future, but I'm sure you all are more familiar with Sagwa the Chinese Siamese cat, which aired in PBS in the 2000s. As for the logo itself, it is incredibly jarring. It just happens so quickly and is also quite loud, which is probably why Iron Yoshi found it to be a bit unsettling as a kid. Thankfully, there is a variant of this logo that is a little longer, but is much more pleasant. Sure, the constant floating seas might be a little overwhelming for some, but it is certainly less frightening than the last logo. The music is also less bombastic and sounds like a triumphant theme from an RPG game, and the logo seems to give off a less threatening vibe, like the bird wants to be your friend and not peck at your cock with its beak. Oh, now that I think about it, that actually sounds very swell. Reminds me of the time the Barney Bunch and I went to the park, and I put a lot of bird seeds in my 300 miles of manhood, and all the birds flocked over and pecked and pecked and pecked. It felt so fucking swell out the bum hole in one. And now, we've reached the final logo for the video, because this video itself is fucking long enough, as is. So without further ado, I present to you a memorable indent from the Discovery Channel. Such super swell memories. Remember when Discovery Channel actually used to air both entertaining and educational content, and not the dumpster fire reality trash TV slop that they do now? And the less said about that disastrous Warner Brothers merger the better. In the old video, Iron Yoshi said that he saw this logo on his DVD copies of both Dinosaur Planet and Alien Planet, but this logo actually came from a DVD he owns called the Essential Dinosaur Pack, which was a 2-disc compilation of some of Discovery Channel's dinosaur documentaries. Yes, Iron Yoshi was a dino nut back then, but not like me, where I like to nut all over Barney. The logo Iron Yoshi was actually referring to before was the variant that was from 2003 that had the slogan "Entertain Your Brain," but at the time he couldn't find the actual logo for the video. Or he was being a lazy fuck. Well, now that all changes. For I have a bonus logo to cap the video off, which was the actual indent from Discovery that was supposed to be in the original video.
The Discovery Channel. entertain your brain.
Now that's more like it. Back when they actually took the term entertain your brain seriously. Oh, how I wish we could go back to those days when Discovery actually put effort into their programs, and not the brain-rot garbage that they have now. And that's a wrap in this remake. Now to shove all these logos up my ass, as Dildus like now time to fuck all these logos like how does one even do this to a logo? Well, I fucked many a logo in my day, so anything is possible at this point. So scary. Even though like half of these weren't even that scary. Oh, I wouldn't recommend watching in the dead of night, for these logos might be out there waiting to scare the everlasting piss and shit and jizz out of you. Time for the logos to set me off. And now for the massive tidal wave of cum like bag. That was swell. Well, I hope you enjoyed this super swell remake. This was kind of a spur-of-the-moment decision, but hopefully it fixed a lot of the original video. And no, the original won't go anywhere, it'll still be around. And for those expecting a fifth entry in this series, well, Iron Yoshi doesn't have any plans to do that at the moment. Also, don't expect remakes of the other entries or even of older videos anytime soon. It'll be original videos for the most part. But even so, this was a lot of fun to do. It was quite nice revisiting some of these logos and providing better context and updated information that might have been missed out on in the original. But as for me, the Barney Bunch is getting ready for another massive orgy, and I hear it's going to be the biggest and raunchiest one yet. I certainly can't wait for that. So, until we meet again, whenever that may be, I am your swell, as hell pal Drew Pickles, reminding you to wash your butt plugs 3 times a day. See you later, my sexually stimulating studs.
This has been a production from one of the goddamn penis clown McDonald. Hope you enjoyed the show.